So, guys, welcome back to this live session. Today, we are going to talk about what have you, what are you planning as an accountant? What did you do last this or last week, and what are you going to plan to do next week? What are you going to plan to do next week? Because in account perspective, it is a kind of planning yourself. If you don't plan yourself, then you will find that the government will plan for you. If you don't plant yourself, the government will plant for you. And why is it that I'm saying the government will plant for you? The government will plan for your work if you don't plan it. One of the reasons why the government is planning for your work is that they give you a strict deadlines. The government give you a strict deadline for filing the returns, and we have so many kinds of return to file. We have the income tax. We have the income tax. If you are in East Africa, specifically Kenya, then the income tax is due on 30th of this month. Is due on 30th of this month. So you see, you are an accountant. You haven't planned your days. The government is coming to plan for you. The government is coming to plan for you. We have another calendar. We have another calendar which also we should mark as an accountant or as another person or even as a business owner who own a business. Number two is we have talked about the first one. We have talked about the income tax. That should be your first calendar. The second calendar is the VAT, the filing of VAT. That could be your second calendar, the filing of VAT. We do file VAT on 20th of the following month. That is your calendar on 20th of the following month. So you should also understand these calendars and their obligations. You should also understand this calendar and their obligation. So if you don't honor the first calendar, that is 30th of the following 30th June each every year, then there is consequences. What are these consequences? You are returned, you will not file return on time. If you don't file return on time, you will realize that you are filing a nil return. You're filing a nil return. So the first one, you get penalty if you don't file. If you file because you don't have something to file, you will find that you are filing a nil return. You will find that you are filing a nil return. And those two, they have the consequences. Filing nil return, they has its own consequences, right? Failing to file, they has its own consequences, which is very specific. You get penalty. You get penalty, you pay the penalty. But declaring a nil return, has its own consequences. There are so many. We can't be now for this. We can't be specific. For this, we can't be specific because number one, it can trigger the audit, the KRA audit. The Kenya Revenue Authority can come for you for audit because why are you declaring a nil return and yet we can see you have been having a transaction, a lot of a transaction has been taking place here and there. Remember, nowadays, the bank do allow the KRA has been given mandate or authority to access your bank. So they can access your bank anytime, any given point. And once they access your bank, they will be able to see the kind of a transaction has been taking place, which will limit you to file the nil return at the end of the year, and which most of the business they don't understand this, or the owners of the business they don't understand this. And you will only understand this if you are the owner of the business, if you have an accountant who is able to mark his calendars very well, who is able to mark his calendars very well, who is able to mark these calendars very well. Then the second calendar is we have talked about the VAT. Also the VAT, you get the penalty. If you don't file, you get the penalty of 10,000 or the whichever the higher amount. If you are supposed to pay 20,000 and then they will pick between 20,000 and the 10,000, they will go with the higher amount, which is 20,000. which is 20,000. So you can see also that one is also it's also a consequences to you. It is also a consequences to you, which as an accountant also you should be able to mark that calendar and help these kind of people to manage their business and help these people to manage their business. So make sure that at least as you're mentioning all these calendars, make sure that you're subscribing to our channel, you're giving a comment there. If you are a business owner, how often do you communicate with your accountant? How often do you communicate your finance manager? So you should be holding meetings each and every time so that you can be making or checking the progress of this thing if you are the owner of the business. If you are the owner of the business. So if you don't check this progress, those people they are there. If you employ these people and then you yourself you are not serious about your work, these people will just there for them to be paid salaries and they will go and they will leave you in darkness, total darkness. They will leave you in total darkness. So make sure that you've been checking these people. Keep on check these people. Ask them because I know most of you don't know what's supposed to. You employ people, but you don't know their responsibility. You employ people, but you don't know their responsibility. You don't know their. Why are you employing people, but you don't know the responsibility? Yes, and even to accountant, you should be even a finance officer. You should be know your responsibility. You should not sit there wait for the owner of the company or the director of the company to give you responsibility. No, you yourself you should be able to know the responsibility, and you will be no you will familiar yourself with your responsibility if you mark these calendars. I'm saying, if you mark these calendars, I'm saying that you will be nobody will give you the direction on your responsibility. So the first one we have said the income tax, which it is due on that date. We have the VAT, which is due on the 20th of the following month. 20th of the following month. Another calendar which you should mark as an accountant or as the owner of the business is the date 5 or withholding VAT. We have the withholding VAT, which it has a strict calendar. This one has a strict calendar, withholding VAT. This withholding VAT, it can be either withholding for value-added tax or withholding for provisional fee and other withholdings. Remember, we have around 20. There are so many lists of the withholding taxes. Whichever any withholding tax, the calendar will remain the same. The calendar will remain the same, and this calendar is fifth after the payment. So if you make the payment today, you wait for 5 days, and then after that 5 days, then you make the payment of that withholding you have withheld, right? That is your calendar. You should also keep as an accountant. That is the calendar you should also keep as an accountant. Another calendar which you should keep as an accountant also is date 9 of the following month. Date 9 of the following month. So maybe you are asking yourself, why are we keeping the calendar of the date 9 of the following month? We are keeping this calendar on date 9 of the following month because of three things here. We have the pay, that is the pay as you earn. We have a statutory deduction, which is NSSF, NHIF, and also the housing levy, and also the housing levy. So we have NHIF, NSSF, and housing levy. So that's why it is good we keep this calendar, because failure to do this also, you will find that you will not pay your pay on time, and then after all you have to file the pay, because if you don't file the pay, there are so many effects or there are so many impact after that, because this one will pay will determine how much of the expense are we going to declare at the end of the year as a salaries and wages. So if you skip 2 or 3 months without filing, it means at the end of the financial year, we are not going to declare those 2 months as salaries and wages because you didn't declare the pay in that month. So it is good to keep this date. It is good to keep this date. Remember, us as an accountant, we do work on the past data, approaching the future data. Whatever we are doing today will affect tomorrow. Whatever we are doing today will affect tomorrow. That's why this job is very critical. One mistake, you have affected another step, and it is very important. So make sure that you mark this date, or you mark this calendar also date 9 of the every month. Date 9 of the every month. It is very important because it has a lot of each components, and each component you have to file it. And also we have another calendar which is date 5th of the following month. So those of you who have not been in a practical field might be asking yourself, why is it that we should keep the calendar of date 5th of the following month? Why is it that we should keep date 5th of the following month? Is it an holiday for accountant? It is not an holiday. It is not an holiday for accountant. This is another extra time. It is not an holiday. It is a calendar to file for National Industrial Training Authority, in short, NITA. So for you, if you are paying, if your company is registered with NITA, then you have to file the NITA on the date 5th of the following month. And this one will force you to shift that calendar of date 9 and bring back to date 5. Why? Because you can't file the NITA, or you can't pay the NITA if you have not filed the pay. So it will trigger you to go back and file your, and say that this calendar date 9, I will not have this calendar date 9. So you have to delete that calendar of date 9 and then now stick to the calendar of date 5. Because this date 5, it has a NITA, and this NITA is being filed together with the payee. It's being filed together with payee. So it forces you there. It forces you there. So that is I've talked about how many calendars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I've talked about 5 calendars. I've talked about the 5 calendars. Those are the 5 calendars I wanted to talk it today. And if you have not, I've just talked about the calendars. I don't know now the aspect of touching this data. So if you are an accountant there, you are just a graduate, you have not touched this thing on practical, you have not done this thing on practical, you are just by hearsay. Then we do have the training, which we train you guys on the practical skills. We train you on these all the practical skills, and also on how to account this. Because remember, it is not always about marking the calendars and filing the return of these calendars. It's also come with how do we account for this thing. So which that training has fully packaged, so that it can be able, so that it will be able to accommodate you as a fresh graduate, or a person you have done this course but you haven't practiced at all. We give you a chance to learn for that, and hit our comment section there. You are just interested, we'll get back to you. Also, you can also, in our page, the YouTube page, we have our contact all over. You can search our contact there and hit that contact, and you will be able to reach us. We will respond immediately to you, so that we can be able to mold your career together. Before, because if you don't mold your career, if you don't have the strong base of your career, then even if you are at the roof there, you can fall down. So what do? Make sure that your base is a solid, it has the solid foundation. It has the solid foundation. So allow me to end this live today, and make sure you share the video, also subscribe and comment. Let's have the interactive session in that comment section. Thank you guys, and meet you next live.